Welcome back to another podcast. I can't believe we're doing another one. It's taken a little while, but finally we are at episode 5. We're currently sitting in the Chef de Mission's office, Australian Chef de Mission's office, controversial, recording this. Welcome back, Cameron.
Yeah, good to be back, Bobbi, on the beautiful sunshine of the Gold Coast.
It's very nice, I have to say. It's been a little bit rainy at times, but in general the weather's been phenomenally good. We're being looked after very well, and we're going to talk about the Commonwealth Games today in general. Seeing as we're here and it happens once every 4 years, we thought it would be a good idea to chat a little bit more in depth about it. So that's going to be one of our topics today. The other topic, a little bit controversial.
Very controversial.
We've missed the boat somewhat because it's sort of happened a little while ago, but Sandpapergate.
Sandpapergate. So for those who aren't into their cricket, there's been a bit of controversy with the Australian cricket team recently, taking some sandpaper onto the field. One of the players put a bit in his pocket and tried to rough the ball up. Ball tampering.
Controversial, as I say. But we will go into that in a little bit more depth. We have a special guest coming on today. We had a great guest last time. Jenny Duncalf was fantastic. We'd love to know what you thought of Jenny's comments, and I thought she was great. But
yeah, some really good opinions there from Jen.
Definitely. But yeah, we've got another English person coming on shortly. So we will move on to that. When they finally arrive, we're currently waiting for them with bated breath. When they finally arrive, we will move on to the next part of the show. So here we go. Our guest has finally arrived. He is none other than Nick Matthew, 3-time world champion. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks, guys.
Nice to be here. Yeah, nice to have you on the podcast. We have a few listeners' questions, which we're going to do for Nick. They're not specifically for Nick, but I'm sure they will be applied to Nick.
Yes.
Pilley?
Certainly. All right, shall I kick it off?
Kick it off.
We're going straight in.
We're going to go straight in. Yeah.
Straight in.
Time is of the essence. Straight in. Pilley's got doubles, so...
Yeah, good to go sports team. Okay, so now I'm definitely going to pronounce this name wrong. From Twitter,
Go on.
Siamir How.
I love this.
Have a look at that with that top one. Siamir?
Yeah.
Siamir How has asked, what do you think Nicol David should do to improve her game? So we thought we'd aim this at you. You made a couple of changes late in your career, mid to late in your career. Your longevity is pretty ridiculous. Anything come to mind for that question?
Yeah, I mean, I know something I've always tried to do for that longevity is, I don't think there's any point in reinventing the wheel. You know, you've got a successful method. There's no point throwing that all away and starting again. You know, it's obviously worked pretty well, but you certainly need to freshen things up over the years, I think. You know, you've been doing it a long time, you know, to keep that day-to-day, keep that excitement level. And I noticed Nicol did that a couple of years ago when she changed the grip. She sort of went right up to the top, and personally, after 8 world titles, I'm not sure that I'd have changed that much. You know, it's probably a tweak here or there, but that seemed like quite a drastic change. And she's obviously tried to go a lot more attacking in her game on the back of that. Personally, when I watch her, I'm going to be maybe a bit controversial here. I don't know.
That's right. We like that on the show.
I don't know what goes on behind the scenes with Nicol's team. I don't know what makes her tick on a day-to-day. But just from the outside looking in, I think that she's more of a diminutive character. Shortening the grip is actually shorten her reach. And I think her court coverage is not been helped because of that.
That makes sense.
I think that she's sort of looking at maybe taking the Egyptians on by shot making, and has got maybe the mindset that the game has got attacking, so I need to go with it. But she had her own method, and I think maybe she could have been worked on being a little bit more attacking. But to me, she's gone a little bit too far. And she's fallen away from what historically she was the very, very best at.
Do you think the tin has made a big difference to her? Like, obviously the tin's gone down 2 inches. The female game has become a lot more attacking. And watching Nicol in the old days, I mean, her movement was phenomenal. She could pick up everything. She lifted really well. She was in control. And now, do you think the way the game's gone, it's a little bit faster, as you say, and with the tin, the girls can hit a few more winners and really stretch her a little bit more? Does that not help Nicol?
I think they can, and there's definitely that argument. And I think that if you stand still, you go backwards, really, so the people will go past you. But to me, watching her, I think that she changed things a bit too drastically, too quick when she was still right up there. And to me, I'd love to have seen. I mean, wouldn't everyone love to see a Nicol at the top of her game versus a Shabini at the top of her game? Unfortunately, when you get people who are that far apart in ages, I've had maybe a similar thing myself with Shabaghi a few times. There's 11 years between us, and there's been a couple of times where I'm in the 5th game against him thinking, I'd love to have played this guy 5 years ago. But unfortunately,
I think we've all thought that.
It's not, unfortunately, that sort of thing's not happened, and she's done incredibly well, longevity, and there's no criticism whatsoever in what I'm saying there. When I've watched it, I've just sort of thought to myself that they're just opening it up a little bit too much, really. It's been the right idea, but maybe just gone too much.
Yeah.
And
how have you adapted your game in the last sort of like five-ish years? I mean, because you've amazingly stayed right at the top of the game.
We're dropping a bit like a stone.
Ignore that bit. Don't let Howard get you asking you why you're number 12 in the world at the moment, because that's irrelevant. But like the last 5 years especially, like you've, on your day you're up there and you're beating the top guys still as a 35, 36, 37-year-old. Like, as you say, if there's 11 years between you and Shabaghi and there's a big gap, like how are you still keeping that? Obviously the motivation is still there, but in terms of quality of squash and tactics and stuff like that, I mean, has that changed?
I think one thing I'd love to have done is sometimes have played with a bit more attacking freedom in my career.
Yeah.
I've sort of maybe gone the other way to Nicol. Sometimes I think when you get into a close match, you revert to type a little bit. Probably did it the other day when I played and lost here in Gold Coast against Wan. Was that when the match got tight, could have taken a few more calculated risks, and just probably when you're a bit edgy, you revert back to what your default method is.
Yeah.
And we're all guilty of that. We're human, under pressure, emotions and everything take over. I think for me, there's one thing I definitely have adapted. If you look at my game when I was younger compared to now, I am more attacking, and there's a lot more variety going on there. I try to change the pace and try to have probably little subtle things rather than, that you might not necessarily see, but hopefully feel if you play against me, rather than being, I'm certainly not a regular shot of the month contender like yourself. But, just sort of marginal little things that I think if you took a 5-year period, you might see a difference. Yeah. But yeah, I'd probably love to have been taken a few things on more, because I feel like I'm capable of some shots and I just don't have the mindset to sometimes go for them. So if there's, I wouldn't call it a regret, but if there's one thing that I want to try and maybe eke out of this last bit of my career is that, and I've no regrets really.
It's a funny one, because obviously watching you play, sometimes when you do go into a more of an attacking mode, I don't know whether you surprise yourself, but you hit a lot of winners, and you can hit a lot of winners. You hit cross-court nicks, and to me, you could do it even more. But the thing is, when you play such a physical game and you're so good straight down the lines, do you want to take that risk? That's the thing, and it's interesting. Different styles of play, and you're someone, Pilley, that especially on the forehand attacks really, really well. And sometimes I think, why doesn't he use his power and hit it hard and low, a lot more?
Wait until you see me play in British Open, mate. I'm just going to smash it.
Well, let me throw that question too, because I know that a few years ago you sort of changed your grip as well. I mentioned that Nicol, she went up. You went a little bit down, am I right?
Yep.
And changed a couple of things. What was the thinking behind that?
I wouldn't say there was heaps of thinking. It was more watching some of the old videos of Gensha Khan, and I don't know why it stuck with me, but the way he swung the ball, it was just, and he held the racket down the grip, and it just looked so free. Like he just swung through it and it looked really free. On a full lunge, there's nothing catching. It's a complete release on a backhand and forehand. So I went on court and sort of just tested it myself and just see how it felt, because all of my career, I've been up the grip, like you said. So I did basically just went on court and tried it myself and gave it a test in a couple of league matches just to see how it went. And and then went to Hong Kong in 2015, I think it was, and had a good run.
So when you got to the final?
Yeah.
Yeah, you beat me in the semi,
that was a good tournament, that one. So that was, I did it like 2 weeks before that tournament.
Right. Sometimes something clicks.
Yeah.
I think probably as athletes, we're all guilty sometimes of looking for something that clicks. And like you can look for a magic formula too much, and just that's not how it works, is it?
No.
But every now and again, you do get one, and that's why we think like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes something does just.
Yeah.
But I think it's helped your movement personally going down the grid. So I think that when you're up there, then I think that's helped the smoothness of your hitting off the ball. Personally, when I've played you since you've made the change.
Make a good coach, wouldn't he? I think, Nick.
Yeah. So
transitioning in. So anyone out there who's wants some lessons as of 1st of September, I'm available. At,
where do I sign up to this academy?
NM Academy.
Yeah.
Get in.
All right.
All right. Do another question.
That was
There's
good.
another good one there, wasn't there?
Yeah, we've got a couple. This probably focuses more on the Com Games we're at right now, playing for your country. So we have from Pakistan. I'm good with these names.
No, go for it.
Mudassar Pervez.
Yeah. You don't have to prove it.
Mudassar, I just want to see if that's around about ballpark.
Yeah.
Mudassar Pervez is asking, does playing for your country bring more pressure as opposed to competing on the world tour where you're essentially on your own? You still represent your country, but you're on your own?
It was an interesting one. We just briefly discussed it before you got here, that question, Nick, and we both said, obviously, playing for your country in a World Team Championship, something like that, is a great experience because you really are part of a team. This is a little bit different because you are part of a team, but you can play against each other.
Yeah.
And it's a weird dynamic because it's every 4 years. Obviously, the World Tour is individual. But
then you've got the wider team here as well in terms of the Team England in the other sports. So you've got a strange dynamic sort of going on here.
But yeah, how does it feel? I think the question is sort of how does it feel playing for your country compared to
I think
playing on tour? You've always been someone that's been
I've always absolutely loved playing for England. I think that because we are individual, I think the first thing is that it's special because it happens maybe once or twice a year or something, and I'd love that camaraderie because we are individuals for 95% of the time. That's great, but I guess the different thing about squash is that even when we play as a team, it's still our individual match that counts. So even though you're part of a team off the court, in terms of your preparation, it's still about your individual match. One of the most things I've enjoyed, and I'm actually gutted I'm not playing doubles this week. A few people have asked me why, and sort of when the preparation was happening, lots of injuries, my partner retired, and thought that you guys were in a better shape to do it. Now that it's come, I wish I was playing, because I think that is probably the closest we have to playing sort of as a team, because you've got that partner and you do everything together, and it's you two together. Whereas as I said, at the other times you're a team, but it's your individual score and performance that still counts. When you play as doubles, that's actually the only time we play as a team, and that's in a weird sort of way when I've felt it the most. The strongest, because that is still ultimately on you as an individual as part of the team. But I think world teams, especially if you get to a final, you do feel the country and the fans behind you more. I mean, it's the only time I've got good luck messages from Pontefract, for example, when we play for England, everyone's going, "We're right behind you, Nick," and it's a bit of a foreign.
That time of decade,
squeeze that one in.
It's always nice. No. I mean, we laugh about it. The best, the beauty about the relationship there is that you wouldn't be a Yorkshireman unless you could laugh at yourself, and people. That's like everyone's always aware of the sort of the irony of that, and it's good fun.
Yeah,
I suppose. Is there a difference, say 4 years ago, stepping on court in the singles event at the Com Games and then stepping on court a week straight after the final, partnering up? Is there a difference between singles and the following week playing doubles? Do you feel a different pressure or a different?
I found less pressure at doubles. I think coming off Glasgow gold in singles, silver in the doubles. If it had been the other way around, I might have seen that as being a disappointment, because ultimately our bread and butter and what we train for every day of our lives is the singles, and that's the ultimate goal. But it's a great opportunity to do something we don't do before. I view doubles as being very serious when I've done it, but also there's an element of sort of fun, camaraderie. I do, you play more with a smile on your face probably than singles, and I love that. As I said, the partnership is great because it's something that we don't do
There's not too many chances we get to do that, is there?
Yeah, and for me, playing with someone like, it is about that partnership. Playing with Adrian was a great experience because we know each other since we were sort of 9 years old, and I think like those sort of things they're almost things you remember the most.
If you're good mates as well, anyway, then it's great to obviously be able to share that.
Yeah,
with,
it's a
with
shared
someone
experience,
else.
which is different when you're individual. I remember winning my first Worlds in Saudi, and we were in the compound there where we all stayed in Saudi. It was lovely, but sat in a hotel room on my own. Sort of after you'd won it, it was a bit of a lonely feel,
Just staring at the roof.
Just one party popper, just.
That sort of thing can sometimes happen in singles.
Yeah.
Win or lose, you can sort of be in a hotel room the other side of the world on your own, stare at the wall. So it's sometimes nice to have someone that shared experience.
Yeah, definitely,
that's true.
One more,
last one. Again, touching on the Com Games from Simon G off Twitter. Just wants to know, why is there so many upsets? It seems at the Com Games this episode of the Com Games. This episode of the Com Games. Is there something in particular, or
something?
I think, you know what? I think it's been a reflection of like the World Tour as a whole. Really, what you've seen is lots and lots of upsets in the early rounds. Anyone can beat anyone, but those sort of top players have, the cream's risen to the top at the end. So it sort of carnage throughout the draws. So I think you see in the PSA World Tour now, every major tournament, the quarterfinalists, semi-finalists are different, but the winner still comes from one of that core group.
Yeah, that's true.
And, so even, at the end of the day, it was carnage throughout the draw in this tournament, but ultimately James still won. And he was one of the pre-tournament favourites. He's someone who's been to, that was his third Commonwealth Games singles final. He would have been, probably up there as he was seeded 4, but probably maybe, I don't know, the betting, would have been second favourite possibly on experience maybe going in, it's fair to say. Yeah. So it wasn't a shock result in terms of who actually ended up winning. Same with the girls. It wasn't a shock that Joelle won, but throughout the draw, I think, and what that's reflecting is the depth of the tour, and also maybe like a little bit of the changing of the guard as well. Like some players coming to the back end of their careers, like myself and James and Greg, and one thing that's harder to achieve, you guys as well, in that sort of mid-30s now. I hate to bring that up, guys, but you probably agree that
young at heart.
Consistency is probably the thing that gets harder. Your best level is still probably better than ever. But I don't know if you guys agree that consistency day in, day out becomes a bit... Your best level and your worst level is probably a bit more of a gap now. Yeah. Whereas when you're probably at your best, not that much, you're very consistent.
Yeah, I agree with that. So
you mean you're a bit more vulnerable to an upset or two?
Definitely. Good questions.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thanks, guys, for writing in.
Can I ask a question before we start?
Yeah, of course you
can.
How
did you feel about your match in Canary Wharf when I was commenting from the couch?
How did I feel? I read your comments from the couch. They're actually quite impressive. You got Pilley's got a rival.
Trademark. I didn't know if they were trademarked, so but I thought, I sat at home. I thought I couldn't resist when you two were playing.
No, it was good.
It was a good match as well.
I enjoyed the best of 3. I mean, we had a good match. I think it was one of the rare occasions where someone lost the first game and then won the next 2, but they were all sort of close games, and I enjoyed the different type of squash. I was, we played 3 rallies, and I was breathing out of all sorts of places.
You go straight in.
And the pace was higher. It was a really interesting dynamic. Always nice to play at Canary Wharf. But,
great atmosphere.
It's a great tournament.
Shame we had to play each other, but it was a good game. It was a good game.
Good comments.
Good comments.
Enjoyed it.
Okay, that's the end of the listeners' questions. That was an excellent section. So that brings us on to the next topic, which is the Commonwealth Games. I feel very lucky to have done 2 Commonwealth Games already, and this is my 3rd one. The Gold Coast is a lovely, lovely place. I was lucky enough to go out yesterday and explore a little bit. Cameron obviously knows this part of the world very well, and Nick has been to Australia quite a few times as well, and he's been to a lot of Commonwealth Games. So we're just going to chat about the Commonwealth Games.
How many? How many?
It's my 4th.
I know he's laughing,
okay,
but
4.
I know he's old, so I just had to mention that. I didn't know if it's 4 or 5. It's 4, isn't it?
It's gone full circle because my first one was in Melbourne in 2006. So
This is
Here we
definitely
are.
your last
This
one.
is the closing of the circle.
Never say never.
Never say never.
I'll do a palmer and play doubles.
Exactly. Why
Specials.
not? So yeah, boys, thoughts on the Commonwealth Games? I mean, for us, it's the pinnacle of our sport in terms of multi-sport games. Unfortunately, we're not yet in the Olympics. I'm sure that is to come for the younger generations, and I'm excited for them to hopefully have the opportunity to participate in the Olympics. But for now, the Commonwealth Games is an amazing event. We saw the finals, 3,000 people cheering, enjoying squash, lots of new people introduced to the sport. And yeah, just want to grab your thoughts and your experiences of the Commonwealth Games. Has it changed in the last
Actually,
12 years?
has it changed? Is it similar to Melbourne? Has it changed much?
I think Melbourne, I was a bit wide-eyed, and
First one,
the first one, it was a bit of wow. I actually did well. I came fourth in the singles and had some good wins, and lost to Peter Nicol in the semis, and that was his sort of crowning glory, and that was sort of a bit of a motivation I'd used of Peter there to try and motivate me this time to repeat something similar. It didn't quite happen, but I saw in that final there, Nicol Palmer in 2006, what the Commonwealth Games meant. That was still to this day probably one of the best squash matches I've ever seen. I don't know if you saw that match in 2006.
Yeah, I watched it online.
Unbelievable.
Me too. Yeah.
The atmosphere and showed me there in what squash in the Commonwealth Games meant really in that match. And it's great to be part of the wider Team England. Glasgow for us felt like a home games on the back of London 2012. The buzz of sport in the UK was massive, and I'm presuming, Cameron, you got a similar feel being Team Australia in Australia this time.
Probably the same as you guys 4 years ago.
Yeah.
The atmosphere has just been insane. And I think what I like is it seems like there's just a lot of general sports fans in the stadium. Like I know playing the other night against James in the quarters, I mean, some of the things that people were yelling out, I'm just thinking, okay, they're not here as specific squash fans. They're here as just general sports fans.
Yeah.
Seeing the Australian flags, different types of banners people are bringing in. You rarely get to see that at just a normal squash event.
Yeah, we need more of that. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's
there's definitely more. And we see it across all of them. Squash is now Asian Games, Pan American, African Games, Asian Games. I already said that. Just the one, and obviously Commonwealth. The Olympics is just the one we're missing, and all those other, anyone from those different parts of the world will know what there's a difference, isn't there, between these games and a normal PSA tournament. A massive difference, and the Olympics is the one thing that's missing really, because this is we've shown how well the sport can be received in these major games from players, audience, online, on TV, everything.
Yeah. It's great to share the village and the block that we're staying in with other sports and see how they're getting on. Talk to them about their life, how they train, how they compete, whether there's prize money, loads of different things. Like we were by the pool the other day, we were talking to beach volleyball and talking to hockey or netball, and it's just great getting an insight into other professional athletes' lives and how their sports work. And then obviously, as Nick said previously, like being part of a team, asking how you're getting on, have you got a medal, you got a chance for a medal, that's great. We went to the swimming last night actually. And
that looked amazing.
It was phenomenal. Like I was and the thing about squash, the one thing that I want to happen in the future is that the best atmospheres in sport are when you really passionately want someone to win or someone to lose. And last night, being part of Team England, I was, we were shouting as loud. We nearly lost our voice, like shouting for PT and shouting for the guys, like trying to bring it in the swimming, just to try and beat Australia. Yeah. Like it's a great rivalry.
So who ended up winning?
Yeah, all right.
It was close.
Yeah, it's like
I just saw that 5 minutes ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great race.
Yeah, it was a great race. A bird came down actually and put our guy off like halfway down, but no, it was a great race and the atmosphere was phenomenal. It was like 12,500 people.
Jeez.
And without doubt, I sort of said that in an Aussie accent a little bit, but without doubt, the crowd won the gold medal for Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
Just pulled them on.
The noise they made for the last guy doing the freestyle.
Because England went into the last leg in the lead.
He was our guy was about a second ahead, and the crowd made the difference. You could just hear the crowd willing him on, and he was just stroke by stroke pulling him back till he got level with like 10 meters left. And,
Wow.
and honestly, that was the difference. And
Jeez.
that's the sort of atmosphere you want.
That's what we want
within sport. It was the noise was like deafening when they say it's deafening. It was awesome, and the more we can get that in squash, if it gets to it in Australia in the finals of the doubles or whatever, I think it'll be great. Like I don't want you guys to win because I want us to win, but at the same time, if we manage to get an England-Australia final in one of the doubles, it'll be fantastic because the crowd will be really loud. They'll get into it, and that's when you get the best atmospheres, and that's when you get the best matches. That's when we play the best. I don't know how you found it, but whenever you get those sort of cauldron-like atmospheres and loads of people shouting and screaming, that's when you play the best.
Well, 4 years ago, the Australian England final in doubles, that crowd was ridiculous. That was so cool to play in front of.
And one thing I'll add as well, being part of something like this, is how well squash is received within the other athletes in the team as well. So they're all puzzled, why are you not with us at the Olympics? They all respect how brutal a sport it is. And almost, that's the biggest thing, having the respect of other athletes who are all in brutal sports themselves. Every sport is brutal in its own way. And squash is held in the utmost of respect from the other athletes in the team. You can tell, and that's a massively positive thing. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's just for me, we somehow need to get more media coverage. I know it was great for squash in Glasgow, and I know in the UK we got loads more coverage. And I feel
took
like
my clothes off the other day. I mean, what more do you want me to do?
Can we touch on that?
yeah. Well, I was going to bring that up, but talk us through it by all means.
Actually, did that kind of go a bit viral over in the UK or not?
It depends what you call by viral, mate. Depends what you mean by viral, mate.
A lot of people thought their computer had a virus when it came through. If that's what you mean.
It was our picture on the WhatsApp group, Gold Coast WhatsApp group over here for a little while.
But for a couple of days.
The girls took it down. Or did you take it down?
I took it down eventually. I was like, I'll let them have this for a day or so.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it was it's a big newspaper over in England, so it's good coverage. We need as much as we can. If it takes Nick getting his kit off for us to get in it, then so be it. I'm quite happy to do
I've been working on my tan since I got knocked out. It's not coming yet, but I actually could have done with a bit of colour before that shoot.
Yeah.
Question, Daryl: if you win a medal here or gold, are you going to get your kit off?
But do you know what? I've sort of often thought, like, how would I celebrate if I'd won a gold?
Yeah.
And I don't know why it always comes to me about taking all my clothes off. Not all of them, but just like literally just left in skins and shoes and just running around the
I can
arena.
imagine you just with your shirt above your head. You've always been a bit of a football type mentality, haven't you? I can imagine you wafting it around your head.
Celebration. Just
like
get
the
Aguero celebration when he won Premier League.
Yeah.
That's actually a good celebration. I might do that.
I'll hold you to that.
Hold me. Well, I don't know about. Yeah, I'll whip the shirt off and just like whiz it around the head and just do a lap.
As long as Waller keeps his on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, or I'll depending on who you win with.
Yeah. Waller hasn't been shy at the dining hall this week.
Yeah,
that's an interesting one. Dining
what, Waller eating?
No, we joke, but he does like his food. The dining hall's amazing. I mean, it's 24/7. The infrastructure is phenomenal. I was discussing with the boys yesterday. I mean, how many bottles of water must have been will be drunk in these 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's cost of staging something like this, but hopefully, the legacy, sport in Australia and everything. Hopefully, the legacy's there. You see that at the swimming pool. It was already an existing pool out here, and they just built the stands on there on the side. So they've done ways to sort of improve existing facilities or add that legacy. What they're going to do with the squash courts, for example, I hear.
Yep.
Which you could probably say something more about, but. They're using everything as opposed to it's painful, isn't it, when you see in Rio like stadiums that are just now derelict and wasting money.
Yeah.
Things
it's
like
such
that.
a shame.
Oh, it's such a shame.
I mean, with the squash, they're going to obviously we're playing in Movie World.
Yeah.
They're going to take the courts and take them out to Carrara Stadium where we had the opening ceremony and build a national squash centre. So for Australian squash, I think that's exactly what we need. We haven't had a specific Australian squash training venue for years. So I think for squash, that's the legacy that they're going to leave. And hopefully, Australian squash can kick on a bit as well from that.
You need to. Australia have always been a great, had a great history in the sport, and so it'd be, you need to do something to help the juniors and the younger ones come through, because at the moment there's not many prospects. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope there's lots of Australian guys come through. I know Pricey's a great guy, and he's going to try hard to change that. So I wish him all the best, and lots more England Australia rivalries in the future, hopefully.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we're a little bit pushed for time today due to doubles commitments. So we're going to leave it there for the Commonwealth Games section, but I hope you guys got a little flavour for what we think of the Commonwealth Games and how importantly we regard it. Okay, so we move on to the next part of the show, which is Sandpapergate / Sportsmanship / gamesmanship. Unfortunately, Nick can't join us for this little section. He just sending a few tweets and what have you. Too busy.
Yeah. Tweets were calling, weren't they?
They were indeed. So apologies if this is a bit of a weird dynamic. But yeah, Nick, this is obviously a section that we missed and have come back to complete episode 5 of the podcast. So it's just me and Pill, but we have plenty to discuss. So Sandpapergate, explain to those who don't know, bearing in mind we've massively missed the boat here and it was about 2 months ago. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, we're coming in late here. Yeah, so we touched on it in the intro, Sandpapergate. So the Australian cricket team, going back a few months now, caught ball tampering. Massive controversy, especially back in Australia. It was crazy. So basically a player has gone onto the field with some sandpaper in his pocket for the sole purpose to rough up the ball, which in actual effect is cheating. And it's ball tampering, and they got found out. And to put it one way, shit hit the fan.
That's a good way of putting it. We can bleep that out, it's fine.
Yeah.
We're a clean podcast.
Yeah, clean.
Ish. Clean. No, shit's fine. But yeah, no, how was that received in Australia? Because I heard that everyone was obviously not happy about it. It's a clear case of cheating. It's premeditated. That was my main problem with it. There's a difference between on-field cheating and then actually going out preparing to cheat already, having talked about it.
Yeah. Everyone in Australia, obviously you've got the Australian cricket captain, Steve Smith, and the youngest guy on the team who conspired to do this. So it's a pretty awkward combination where, they've put it on the young guy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, everyone who I spoke to back in Oz, it was all over the news. Everyone was just blowing up. I think it's absolutely terrible what they were doing. I think the International Cricket Council, I think they have a few levels of, how do I put it, cheating. So you've got match fixing, which is the worst, obviously.
Yeah.
So ball tampering, which is still cheating, is the second tier. And I mean, I think there needs to be harsher penalties for it.
Definitely.
And I'm just glad. So the ICC only gave, I think, a 2-match ban and a small fine. So I'm so glad that the Australian Cricket Board handed down a 12-month ban from all forms of cricket.
Definitely the way that it should have been handled. The ICC, the cricket need to look at their own rules. But I mean, it's that was an example. That's an example of something that's obviously been in the news. It's been discussed a lot. We don't need to discuss the cricket side of things, but I'd like to obviously discuss the squash side of things and, sportsmanship in all sport really. But specifically in terms of squash, I think there was a few people asking somewhere, how do you cheat in squash? I mean, there's the obvious ways, double bounces, not calling them. But there's a few other, gamesmanship ways. Is sledging allowed? Doesn't really happen that much in squash these days. Little bits here and there. But yeah, I mean, what have you experienced? Any?
I mean, there's always the gamesmanship, sportsmanship of, either you or your opponent might give the other guy a bit of a hip check on their way to the ball. You can see them they're about to take such a fine line past you, you might just give them a little hip check.
Yeah.
And there's certain players who are very good at it, very subtle.
Yeah.
We're not naming names. Greg? No, just kidding. Just kidding. But no, there's those little things where it's. I don't see it as cheating.
Right.
I mean, I think all that is part of the game, and you're competing for such a confined. You're in such a confined space. And you're competing for ground against your opponent.
Yeah.
And it's the only racket sport that does that.
Yeah.
So you're always going to get a few nudges and hip checks and things like that. There's definitely situations where some players may take it too far. Yeah. And that's where I think they can try and do that, but then I'd like to see the refs absolutely penalise it, like come down harsh.
Yeah.
If they want to try and get away with it, they can try. But if the ref sees it, I just want them to cane them.
The refs, I definitely think if they've seen an act, what they see is cheating and purposeful cheating, rather than, it's like diving in football. Like if no one's penalising you, there's no yellow cards being shown, and the ref sort of doesn't give the penalty, then the guy might try it again. Yeah. And it's the same in squash, if it's whether it's physical contact, whether it's a double bounce. Yeah. If you're not getting penalised for the parts of the game which are cheating / frowned upon gamesmanship, then you're more likely to try it again. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we spoke about just before off air about if you're in a massive lunge position, you've got your head down, you're not me, but you might be in the splits. You might have your head down and think, I got that. Like pop up, get ready, keep going. And you could swear on your life that you got it, and you have a look at the replay, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, that was actually a double. I mean, it's a tough one, because if you're not sure, if you actually think you got it, you're not going to go, let's play, like, 'cause I'm not sure. I mean, it's. No, it's I get that with the double bounces. You even see it on the slow-mo replays, and it's hard to tell. There are times when when it's down, for sure. Yeah. But there are also times when you don't know. Yeah. As you say, you got your head down in a massive lunge. You don't always know. There are players who know and will willingly cheat and say, "Oh no, I got it, I got it." And same with the ball on the tin. The players on the court always have the best view of that. Yeah. Because we're the closest to it, and you can tell the slight deviations if it clips the top of the tin. Another one, the players often know. Very hard for the refs. They're a long way back. To be honest, I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? There's lots you can. I was thinking of other ways of trying to gain a small advantage, but there's it's happened quite a lot with the sweat on the sidewall or the sweat on the ball. You serve into that patch of sweat, or you serve with a wet ball and it goes straight down the sidewall. Yep. Plead ignorance as the guy shanks it in the tin, and you get an extra point. But there's is that cheating? I think it is. I think I've seen a lot of club players, and I used to do this against my brother back in the day, where you just get so much sweat on the ball, and you just serve it into the sidewall and just hit the back wall, rally over. Yeah. I think if players wipe their hands on the sidewall and you're actually aware that they're doing it, and it hits it, or it hits something on the ground, I mean that's just too bad. I mean, actually that's why I always wipe my hand back sidewall up nice and high. Yeah. I'm like, okay, there's no way it can get affected here. Yeah. Yeah, but that's you doing it. How about if your opponent is then wiping it in the bit where it, like in the serve in a boast situation, boast or on the sidewall, or I'd try and aim for it. Yeah, you try and use it to your advantage rather than necessarily moan about it. Yeah, I wouldn't moan about it, because I'd be very annoyed. Yeah. But I'd be like, Have you had it though? Have you had it where you've someone's put sweat on the ball just before you're about to serve, or not about you're about to serve, about you're going to receive. Yeah. You obviously don't know about it because it's in their hand. Yeah. But it's happened where they've served it and it's hit the sidewall and it's just skidded and I couldn't get it back. Yeah. But I don't know if you're not hit sure. that patch, or they've just thrown it in their sweaty shirt and just gone, okay, let's stitch Pilley up here. Probably stitching you up, mate. That's one. I mean, there's quite a lot, isn't there? I mean, you're thinking of like the blood rule. That's a dodgy rule in itself.
Yep.
But you might know that you've got a cut, or you might know that you're bleeding. You're sort of concealing it from the ref.
Yeah.
That's more to do, I guess, with the fact that the blood rule is ridiculous. So that sort of needs updating.
Especially a graze on the knuckles where you're technically bleeding.
Yeah.
It's having no effect on anything.
Yeah.
That needs to be looked at for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's your view on the injury, the 3-minute sort of injury break? Because a self-inflicted injury, you could literally just stick your hand up and go, I just did something in that rally. I'm not sure if it's all right.
Yeah.
Absolutely blowing out your and thinking, I'm getting tonked here.
Yeah.
And can I change the rhythm of the match? Can I do something?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 3 minutes, you're going to recover, aren't you?
That's what I mean. It's like, but as a ref, it's very hard because you can't tell someone they're lying. But you as a player, is that a little bit of gamesmanship? Is that just using the rules to your advantage? Is it knowingly cheating because you're faking an injury to get a rest? I mean, they're like very grey areas. There's a lot of grey areas, obviously, in sport with this type of thing. But I'm just interested in squash.
I'm completely against it. Most of the time, I'd say 99% of the time, a squash injury will happen on a certain movement, or there'll be something where it just goes bang. You or your opponent can see it, or the ref can just see something, and the player would normally go, I need 3 minutes. All of a sudden, if they've had 10 minutes of tough squash, and the guy goes, my leg, I've heard I need 3 minutes. And clearly it's not. I hate that. I think that's taken the piss in a bad way. And if somebody does that over and over, I hope they get a reputation, and I hope somebody would have a good word to them.
Yeah, but can you stop it?
I don't think you can stop it. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. Because for a ref, if they go, no, I didn't see anything, play on, and then they've actually got an injury, and they make it worse, that ref is going to cop it. Jeez. It's what do you think? I mean,
it's a rule, isn't it? I mean, it's like
tennis players when they need a bathroom break. And they might just need a few minutes rest.
But that's just part of it, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. I really don't like it.
No, I know. There's a difference between not liking it and whether it's like someone clearly, breaking the rules.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm all for it. Go on, fake an injury. It's just like it's just one of those things that you hope the integrity of the players is one where it stands up. It's never going to be the case in all sport. There's always a few that want to bend the rules, want to step over the line and come back, and it's for squash. It's we're lucky. Let's be honest, we're lucky as a sport that 9 times out of 10 everyone is good as gold. We have all this doping stuff that problems they have in cycling. That's clear cheating. Yeah. In other sports, athletics, I mean, that's massively been in the headlines. Like we're lucky in squash that we're how hard is our sport and how physical it is.
And to have such a clean sport like squash does. Yeah. I mean, it's such a good image that I just hope it continues.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I mean. Yeah. We need more tests, that's for sure. I think we need more testing. Obviously, it's expensive, but we definitely need more testing. But at the same time, all the top guys and girls have all been tested at different parts and different times. Yep. And it's great. That's a massive positive. I know it's like talking about gamesmanship, sportsmanship, and cheating is a massive negative. But with squash, we have a massive positive, and that is our clean doping record. So to have a sport as hard as we've got it. That's brilliant in my opinion, and one that we should massively be shouting about. And we do shout about it, but cycling annoys the out of me because it's and athletics. It's just I can't watch it. I like watching cycling, but I just don't watch it now. I haven't watched it for ages.
Because, so will you watch the tour?
No, just out of protest. That doesn't have any influence because they all still do it. All still earn money. What's annoying is they all earn a living from cheating. And I say all of them. And I mean all of them. You're in the same boat. I'm sorry, your sport's been completely tainted, and there's no going back from it for a very long time. And you might have 1 or 2 clean ones. What's the point? Yeah, exactly. Like those guys are just like they get fed up after 6 months of like training they're absolute nuts off, and then, oh, hang on, that guy's just flown past me up the like 85% gradient, and I'm sort of pedaling backwards here. So no, that's like going back to squash. Proud of that record. I hope it continues because that's huge.
Yeah, it's a credit to all squash players. It's something that every squash player should be proud of. Just, you know, in general, club players and, you know, social squash players. I think it's such a good thing to have.
Yeah. Going back to other quick one on other sports, but obviously with football, having watched a lot of it, there's a lot of cheating and a lot of gamesmanship and stuff goes on in that. And I would love them to stick a rugby referee in, and just for them to be refereed fairly, but strictly, with, you know, as long as the players respected the ref and his decisions, which they seem to in rugby. Like, why can't we do that in football? I know we're trying to do it in squash, and we're trying to sort of obviously become a bit stricter. But the problem I have with squash, and I'll say it again, is that we have amateur referees and we're professional athletes. And that's why it doesn't work for me, because I don't always believe that whoever is refereeing me has done the necessary homework / you know, they're not professional. It's not their fault. They're a part-time referee. That's fine. It's just a shame that we just got to keep pushing for professional refs. That's my opinion. But in terms of football, with the amount of money they have, how can they not see the problem with their sport? Like, for me, it's such a good sport to watch. But the main problems all come from the way the players, like, how are you allowed to swear at referees all the time? Like, with squash, ours is nothing compared with that. You can't swear on court. No one swears on court.
We're angels. We are
in
angels.
Comparison. I mean, honestly, in their face, swearing, calling everything. Like, how do they continue to let them get away with it? I don't know.
You watch way more football than me. On the few occasions I watch it, that absolutely does my head in.
Yeah.
And like you said, put a rugby ref on there and just bring in those rules, or just go, okay, this is how you got to approach refs and speak to refs, because it sets such a bad example for youngsters. Yeah, definitely. And you probably see it at like junior games and stuff where they copy their idols. Yeah, they just go off their head at the ref. And it's not good to see.
But I mean, that's like, I'm just sort of mentioning it. It's a form of gamesmanship, because the players are in the ref's ear constantly. Yeah. Constantly saying this, constantly saying that, trying to get a decision, trying to get this, trying to get that, and you know, that's just another. You're trying to influence the outcome. You're trying to influence stuff, and you know, I'd like to see a little bit less of that. That on the football field. Yeah,
definitely.
Sure.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, wrapping up this little section. I mean, cheating in sport, it's the nature of the beast. There's it's the nature of the beast. There's lots of money. Lots of money in professional sport these days, and there's always going to be one or two who are tempted to not only break the rules, but you know, they've gone so far past the line they can't even see the line. And there's also and then there's also the interesting grey areas, which we've sort of talked about. And do you you're nudging the rules, and can I get away with this? But is it fair? Is it this? Is it that? And I think, you know, when you're in that area, you're not. It's a matter of opinion, right? Some people might say that's fine. Other people might say no, that's no good. But I think when you're in that area, you know,
I think squash is pretty good with that. With the grey area, you know, from what I see, there's no blatant cheats in squash. You know, it's most of the time it is that grey area where they might not be sure. And I think as we can get this new technology and the better cameras, like we see at the World Series finals last year or 2 years ago, where the cameras, I mean, they are so expensive, but they are crystal clear. So as soon as we can bring that in on a regular basis, I mean, you can see every single pickup, down ball, out, whether it hits a player. As soon as we get that in, I think that's a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one, definitely on a professional level. Be interesting to see what other ways of cheating / gamesmanship the old amateurs, club players have experienced.
I'd love to hear some stories of some gamesmanship.
Comments from the couch on Twitter. Give us a shout. Let us know any stories or any experiences of well, anything, blatant cheating,
Yeah.
gamesmanship, whatever you want.
Yep.
Send it in, and we'll have a little look. Okay, that is the end of this section. I keep saying section. I don't know why I say section all the time.
A little section.
Good little section. Okay, on to the next part of the show. And so we come on to my personal favourite part of the show. Personally, my favourite, because it's Bobby's quiz. Can we have the intro music, please?
I
finished it off for you there.
So bad.
No,
I've got to work on that.
Yeah, it's terrible, but everyone enjoys it. Yeah. Don't you? Okay, so we have the next round of Bobby's quiz. If anyone has not listened to episode 4 with Jenny Duncalf, I will not reveal the score, but Cameron has a lot of work to do in his corner. I can see his brain ticking now.
It's my weakest link here.
So he's up against
Bobby's quiz.
Nick.
Brain's your weakest link.
Brain's the weakest link.
Quiz shouldn't say that before the quiz.
No, don't say it before the quiz.
Jeez, if I beat you now.
Nick's notoriously a good quizite.
Depends on what though?
Oh, of course,
Yeah,
you've been on.
depends on
What is it?
what.
Question of sport.
Question of sport.
Been on a
If
few
it's
times.
sport though, if he asks me about,
It depends what
I
I'm
don't
going to
know.
ask you. Okay, this is obviously going to be based on the Commonwealth Games because we're here at the Commonwealth.
Vamos.
I've got 5 questions and I don't need a tiebreaker this time, do I? Because I've only got 5 questions.
So how's it work?
So the thing is, if you both get them right,
quickest
then,
answer, or do we get a chance to answer each?
no, you get a chance to answer each. So
Just don't have to have fingers on the buzzers.
no fingers on the buzzers. Okay, this is actually a difficult one. So this is going to be closest to.
Closest to.
To, yeah. So there are 18 sports and 7 parasports at the Commonwealth
Correct.
Games. Thank you. That is correct. Okay, so how many gold medals are up for grabs in total?
Well, swimming, I've got about 300.
Yeah. Apart from the swimming.
They swim forwards, backwards, sideways. What else?
Let's say Nick has to go first because I want to give Cameron a chance at it. So medals wise, obviously you've got as I said, you've got 18 sports. A lot of them, like squash, only have we've only got.
Did you say medals or gold medals?
Gold medals
Gold
up for grabs. So we've got
How many gold medals?
Gold.
3, 4, 5. We've got 5 up for grabs in squash. There's a start. Swimming, as you say, swimming have got a lot. Athletics a lot.
Jesus.
Cycling a fair few. Yeah,
I'm sure I've seen this somewhere.
you may
I've
have
seen a
it.
stat somewhere.
You may have seen it.
Well, who's going first?
You are Nick.
Me. I'm going to go 178.
Okay. Nick's guess is 178. Cameron,
I'm guessing more, and I'm going to go with.
you can have 10 bonus points if you get the right.
If I get it.
Yeah.
If I get it, bang on.
Yeah, you win. Actually, we're going to stop the quiz. If you get it right.
Oh, that means it's less. I'm going to go with 217.
That you're right. It's more. It's 275 gold medals.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
I know.
Okay.
275 gold medals up for grabs. Yeah.
All right. I'm
Pilley,
off to a good
1-0.
start.
You're off to a good start last time. Let's see what happens now.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is, so in the Commonwealth, there's obviously a lot of different nations and nationalities. Some that we have to check whether they're real, like the other day when we saw a flag that we'd never seen before and had to check, and then we heard the
If it's
country.
a
Who
real
was
thing.
it? New?
Oh, new.
It's amazing holiday destinations, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, some great holiday destinations. But so we've got some fantastic places within the Commonwealth. How many different countries are participating?
Me.
Pilley's up first, yeah. How many different nations and territories, I should say, it says.
I've seen this stat somewhere too.
So obviously, probably...
If I just count those flags,
if you count the flags outside, then you should be spot on. So, in fact, if anything, the flag should give you a good and a good idea. Just for those that don't know, what you boys think. On the main parade, there's flags, all the different flags of the nations and territories, all the way down the main street in the village here. And there's flags
Australia,
both sides.
New Zealand,
So don't
England.
make come on, son. Time is of the essence.
I
I want you to miss your bus now.
don't know why this is in my head, but I'm going to say 71.
Okay.
That's right, because that's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, boys! The boys know it!
That's right, isn't it?
Yes!
Oh. Too smart for Bobby's
Flipping
quiz.
it out, blimey.
I can't
10
believe
bonus
you got-
points each.
I can't believe you got that.
That just stuck in
I
my
knew it straight away.
Did you know it?
Yeah.
Oh. How did you know that? Why
No, I remember seeing it somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my quiz is getting too easy.
So what does that mean? Just
No, you just
One
high
each.
five.
Still
nothing.
Still one up.
Still
Okay.
one up.
Still one up. Okay, let's go for a little bit more of a squash specific question to do with obviously the Commonwealth Games. The all-time medal table at the Commonwealth Games. Nick, you'll probably know this again. Such a stato. But you're going to go first.
stato.
So, who currently leads the medal table, for one? And two, who leads the total medal table? If you can give me the numbers, then
What do you mean
there's
the
bonus
difference
points.
between
So,
medal table and total medal table?
Oh, you mean
Well,
the
they're-
gold medal tally?
no,
Or
they're different. So, yeah, exactly. Gold medal tally versus total medals.
okay,
Right.
So okay, let's do it as two separate questions. Who leads the gold medal table for the Commonwealth Games? And if you can give me the amount of gold medals won in the past, what we got? 5 Commonwealth Games? Is that when it started? 98, wasn't
98,
it? Yeah.
2002, 2002.
Yeah. So 5 Commonwealth Games. So who leads the medal table?
wow.
I'm going to be controversial and say New Zealand.
Okay, and how many gold medals?
Um,
This is in squash, right?
yeah.
Yeah. How many? So just-
I think
Come on, son.
maybe 9 or 10.
Okay. We're going for
So you're saying
Nine.
So
He's going New Zealand.
New Zealand with 9 gold medals
Yeah.
in the last 5 Com Games.
Yep.
I'm going to say Australia with
Biased.
about, definitely right, with about 12.
I don't know what to do here because Australia is correct.
Yeah.
9 is also correct.
I thought it was a trick question and it wasn't going to be obvious.
Ah,
Australia,
mate.
see.
New Zealand, 3 gold medals.
Oh.
Yeah, 3. That's it. Why are you saying what?
As in, like, have you included the Joey
What do you mean?
in this?
No, I haven't included it.
No.
I thought Rilani
Yeah.
just won like 3 on her own.
She won 2 on her own, women's doubles and mixed doubles in 2002. So she's got 2/3 of their medals. Actually, no, half now because Joey's just won another one.
Well, we can answer the second half of that question.
What?
So now that's golds.
Yeah. So total medals. Who's won the most total medals?
And
That
number.
was it. I'm going to give you that as an equal.
Yeah.
You're still 1 up. Pilley.
Okay. So now,
So who went first? Nick went first.
Yeah.
So you're first.
so country and
Total.
number,
Yep.
total medals.
Yep. Total medals. And total medals will go closest as well.
Squash.
Squash only. Yeah.
Australia
Okay.
with, jeez, 25.
Okay. Decent guess. Mr. Matthew.
England
Come on. He's right.
with.
Come on.
I mean, the last 2 Commonwealth Games, it was just in the men's singles. It was just a podium. It was just
Oh, that's
embarrassing.
good, that was
There was,
three.
Hoping
there
you're
was
gonna
just
bring that
no
up.
green and gold in sight. Was there? The exact opposite of most swimming races this week.
Yeah.
So that's 3.
England is
That's
correct.
6.
England are top of the total medals table.
He's not far off with 25. It's going to be in the 20s. 27.
He's gone higher. He's done ya. He gets his point back. 34.
Oh, I knew it was
34?
there, I thought-
Yeah,
Gee.
34. Australia 30. So pretty much
We
dominated
bought in Peter Nicol though, didn't we? You know, sort of
Oh, yeah.
bought in a
if we-
guaranteed.
Take those out.
It's
So,
like
yeah.
it's like Man
Take
City
those out.
buying in a 100 million player there, wasn't it? He won
We
gold
just-
for Scotland, then I will buy him.
How much
Yeah.
money can we give you?
How much
Yeah.
can we give you to come and play for England?
Yeah, exactly. Works out all right. Worked out very well. So, boys, you're level. Let's make this a decider so that Pilley does not miss the bus.
Yep. I'm a runner.
You're going to run. Okay. Last question. I'm struggling for a last question, to be honest. I sort of added one without meaning to. So I've had a bit of a shocker. Where? Okay. In what year? This is such a ridiculous question, but I'm under so much pressure to get it done. In what year was the first Commonwealth Games contested?
Not squash, any sport.
Any sport.
And it's back to Mr. Matthew.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not going first on this.
Yeah, the first Commonwealth Games. I'll tell you where it was. It was in Hamilton, Ontario. And it was called the Empire Games.
The Empire Games?
Yeah.
I'd say 1904.
Okay. Guess, not a bad guess.
1904.
So it was called the Empire Games. 400 athletes from 11 countries attended. Are you going?
That's 60.
How many?
How
many countries?
Fewer than now.
What's that?
11 countries.
11 countries attended the first one.
I'll go 1908.
Oh, that's a disgusting move. Disgusting move, but it's one that's won in the quiz.
That's it.
1930. 1930, yeah.
Oh, you threw me with the Empire Gate. I was going to go 1924, and then when you said Empire Games, I went earlier.
Sorry, I've stitched you up there. Yeah, so...
Is that my first win?
Yeah, it's your first win. I mean, some terrible questions there, but I hope everyone enjoyed it. Pilley wins his first... Oh, I've given it away now, haven't I?
I've given it away.
He lost to Jenny, but you've got to listen to that because it's a good one.
Your prize is you can go and catch the bus.
Yeah, well done. We'll move on to the outro when you get back from the bus. Enjoy the doubles. So we come to the end of episode 5. I'm shedding a tear because I've enjoyed this episode a lot.
Such a good episode.
And it's finished. But thank you, massive thank you to Matthew for coming on and sharing his experiences. Listeners' questions were great. Obviously talking about Commonwealth Games and none other than Bobbi's quiz, which I thought was a revelation this week, even though there were some particularly dodgy questions in there.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that quiz.
You always enjoy the quizzes.
Yeah.
Huge fan. Any other ideas for quizzes? I mean, do we need to keep the quiz going?
Quiz is pretty well. Let's yeah. I mean, if listeners like it, we could put out a poll as well.
No, because I'm gonna get.
I love polls.
Yeah, I know. You put out a poll.
Put out a poll.
You see if
if you want to mix it up or keep it going, or
all right. I'm gonna vote yes, obviously, because I love my quiz.
Yeah, and I won today's quiz, so I'm going to vote yes, quiz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, quiz. So we've got 2 yeses so far.
Well, that's 100%. So
100%.
The quiz continues.
Yeah, done. Actually, don't bother putting poll. That's enough.
Poll cancelled.
That's enough. Poll cancelled. Done. Bobbi's quiz for next week. Okay, thanks for listening, guys, and we will be back with another episode, hopefully a lot quicker than this one. Onwards and upwards. Ciao for now.